What's up, everybody? Psych Out back here with another video from the Golem Tournament. This time we got ourselves a Master Tournament win. It took us a little while. I haven't been playing the whole time since we've been gone, but I played a little bit here and there. But we finally got the win. First, let me show you the sticker. Well, this is the deck we were using. I think this is the deck. Yes, this is the deck. I've been trying around with some different decks and different variations of Reaper decks and all kinds of different decks. And then I said, oh, you know what, I'm just going to go back and play one more before I have to go do some work. I'm going to go play one more with my normal deck, and we won 10 straight. So let's take a look at the stickers. There you can see the Golem sticker in the top right there from the Grand Tournament. We're going to replace that one with the Golem sticker from the Master Tournament, where we get this little funky dance that he does here. So that's the new sticker we've got. Let's go open up our chest and see what we got. You can see it took us 100 gems because we went straight through on this one with no continues. And let's see here, our legendary 2 Phoenix. That's not bad. I just upgraded that not too long ago, but Phoenix is a good card. I really would have liked a Skull Queen there, but that's okay. Okay, so a bunch of commons. I don't really... Ooh, Inferno, that's really good. 44 of those. Pretty happy about that. But a lot of those are cards I can just I can donate to people, so that's fine. A bunch of Skeletons, Legions. More Lightnings. 10 Shock, that's good. Shock's a good card. 10 Black Knights, that's good. That's a card I do like to play with sometimes. Oh, and a second legendary. We got another legendary in our somewhere through gathering the chest throughout the victory, and it's a vampire. That's cool. Okay, one more vampire, and we can upgrade that card. All right, we also got 20,000 gold. We got our 100 gems back, which is pretty cool. And okay, so that's our Master Tournament win. Like in our other videos, I will. All right, come on, go away. You know what? Let's take a look before we do that. Let's take a look at where we're at in the standings. We're not. Madam L is just crushing it this tournament. Has won 3 Master Tournaments. So is PAIXX Pakes. I'm not sure. Of course, Romaine. We expect to see him near the top all the time, and he's already got 2 Master Tournament and 2 Grand Tournament wins. I am currently 12th. With one Master Tournament and 1 Grand Tournament. That's tied with for 99660161 from the Empire. The way they do tiebreakers is whoever gets there first. So so the tiebreaker is going to them right now. I don't remember what I ended up with last time, but in any case, so that's where we're at. Let's see how many gems I've spent so far. Okay, I spent 2,310 gems so far. I mean, in some ways it probably seems like a lot of gems, but in terms of what you're getting out of it, I mean, in terms of the cards you're getting out, it's actually pretty good value if you win. If you don't win the tournaments, or if you don't get pretty far in them, then yes, of course, it's not a great value. But even if you get in the Master Tournament around 6, 7, 8, even if you lose there, the cards that you pick up along the way are pretty good. Usually to sort of make it worth the 100 gem investment. Okay, so like in our other videos, let's do a replay of the games. Now, unlike in the Grand Tournament, most of our opponents here are pretty strong, or at least connected to pretty strong clans. So again, I'm playing my normal Reaper deck, or at least the Reaper deck that I've been playing in my regular games for a while now. Which I haven't really done a video on those in a while. You might have noticed we're up to 6,800 trophies, which is I think it's a personal best, or very close to a personal best with this account. Okay, so here, you know, we're a pretty standard play. It's kind of the ideal draw. You want to go Storm Elemental, then you want to go Boneyard, then you want to go Protection, and you know, my opponent's trying to do some things, and those things are pretty useful, but you might have wondered why I was kind of waiting, and then the answer is because I didn't really need to do anything. One of the ways you can get into trouble with Reaper decks is by trying to play cards too fast, by trying to play cards as soon as you can play them. Like, I could play a card right now, but there was really no need to play one. I wanted to respond to whatever my opponent did, and that's often the case with Reaper decks, is that I see people make mistakes, is they play cards too quickly. In fact, we might even have an opponent or two who does that, and it lets us come back and win the game. in this video. So here's a second opponent. So I don't remember, I didn't know this opponent, but I definitely knew the clan. So again, we got a pretty good draw. We've got the Storm Elemental, and we've got Protection. I also like to get Wind. I don't know if I'll play it in this. I don't remember if I'll use it in this video. And of course, we drew the Boneyard, which is ideal. All right, so we're okay here. So I'm going to go Boneyard, and it's nice that the skeletons got out in front of my Storm Elemental. Now I'm really just thinking about protecting that top lane and drawing arrows, because arrows would be great. So my opponent had double arrows, which is pretty nice for him. I thought about waiting to see if they would play a vampire, but instead I went that way, and you see I played my played the wind a little too slowly there. But it's okay, because I saved a lot of the skeletons, and I do have the Skull Queen in my hand. And okay, so that looks bad, but because I have all the skeletons at the castle and the Skull Queen coming out, it's going to be pretty tough for my opponent to win, especially after I drew that protection. There's just really nothing my opponent can do at this point. Even threw down the Reaper to get the Hollow Knight back. But anyway, so that was I don't know. So to me, I've played so many of these games that a lot of these look like standard wins to me, but I don't know what's really standard. Okay, this is opponent. I think this is the only opponent I played twice. Playing a I don't know if they played the same deck both times, but a skeleton attack deck. These are pretty popular in the main game right now, but also in the tournament. It's just you play some mana cards, lots of skeletons, and a giant specter is kind of the idea. Works pretty well in a lot of scenarios. Here, I'm not sure that my opponent necessarily got the best draw there. Now they've got both mana cards. I'm not really sure. I guess he's waiting to play the arrows and then both mana cards. I'm still sitting here going, well, I've got a standard bearer in good shape. They just played arrows, so I'm just making another threat. And now I want to switch lanes, get everybody up to the front of the castle, and because, so again, one of the things that I'm monitoring is you know, is my opponent playing arrows? What kind of deck are they playing? This deck sometimes has double arrows in that deck, but not often. Usually they just have one set of arrows, and usually those kinds of decks don't have Inferno. So I wasn't too worried about that either. Okay, so that was round 3. Let's go to round 4. Rush decks can often be the most problematic. I didn't actually recognize my opponent, but I recognized the clan name. And as soon as my opponent played those skeletons, I was pretty sure I was either in for a Reaper, an old classic Reaper deck, or a Rush deck. After the what is that guy? The Warrior. I definitely knew it was a Rush deck, and so I'm feeling pretty good about the fact that I have 2 sets of arrows, because against Rush decks, that's really my only defense. Is the Hollow Knight can help me. And what you want to do against a Rush deck, they're hard to beat with Reaper decks, I can tell you that. But what you want to do is, okay, so here I'm waiting to kill. Oh, but I didn't quite do it. That's okay. I didn't need to, because I've got the arrows. And oh, my opponent missed with the bomb, I guess. That's what happened there. That was kind of weird. What? This is not the correct replay. Well, that's very funny. That was very strange. I don't even remember playing a game like that. That was really weird. Something very strange happened there. I wish I could explain it. This is sort of a known issue with Castle Crush. Sometimes the replays are wrong. I have no idea what happened there. That game looked similar at first, but then lots of things got out of control that were not correct. I definitely know I killed all their creatures by the castle with my double arrows. I'm not sure why it didn't show that, so I don't know. So sorry about that. Unfortunately, game 4, I did win. It says winner, but in the replay it showed me losing, so who knows. Game 5, against another a Reaper deck. This is a classic Reaper deck with the statue. Usually when I face these, I don't worry too much. Boneyard Reaper, I think, is far superior to the classic Reaper deck. Here I decided I think I just held everything. I was a little disappointed that the card that got burned was the Skull Queen, because I'm like, oh man, I probably could have used her later. And as you'll see, there was a point where I thought I wish I had her. This is a pretty good move, I think, against this statue maneuver. Is you put your Hollow Knight there, and then you back it up with the a Reaper. My opponent just played arrows, which is something I'm taking note of. So I've got my Reaper protected. I've got a Hollow Knight. I've got two standard bearers. So there's the first maneuver to play right there. My opponent's going with Rage. I've seen a lot of opponents do this, but unfortunately I'm getting attacked so badly, and they kind of screwed it up. They played too quickly with their Reaper. But I'm getting hit so hard, I've got to start defending a little bit, so I had I couldn't play my standard bearer there. I had to do some defending against that middle lane. But my opponent really should have waited until my Reaper got closer, but I'm not sure that would have mattered because they did have a protection on it, so I think it may not have mattered. Well, at least they would have taken out the first hit. The protection on the Reaper, and then their arrows could have done the rest, but that was kind of a mistake. So that was round 5, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And round 6, we see that same opponent we saw before, and in fact, this person is playing the same deck. I mean, it's kind of a skeleton deck, but in some ways, it's sort of a power deck. It's got a surprise move with the catapult. And it's also got a little more defense in it with the Executioner. Sometimes these decks play that. So, okay, so we both play a Boneyard. The setup's not bad for me. I know I'm going to get arrows eventually. I have 2 in the deck. I'm a little annoyed that I haven't got them yet. Yeah, I've seen a lot of opponents do this. This is a pretty bad maneuver to play the. Okay, so there I sacked my Reaper, but it's a pretty bad maneuver in general to try to kill those things. The skeletons, my skeletons were protecting the Storm Elemental, so it didn't really do a lot of good to put the Black Witch there because I could just go around her. And you notice here, I just wasn't playing anything. I was just sitting and waiting. I wanted to save up my mana. I wanted to see what my opponent was going to do because I'm killing them, so I don't have to be in a hurry. And and then I just had all of my cards ready to go, and so it was very easy for me to finish the game off. And that's an example of what I'm talking about when you play Reaper decks. Sometimes people just want to throw all their cards down really fast, and it's not necessary. 7, 8, 9, and 10. So here was game 7. This is definitely a player I've played before. Very strong player, well known at the top levels, and I couldn't remember what kind of. I feel like this player has played different decks, but maybe he always plays Res, and I just couldn't remember. But I definitely recognized the name and knew it was a strong player. Not the best draw for me, but it's gonna actually. I do remember thinking, you know what, I remember thinking this is a good draw against this opponent because I thought he was playing some kind of a skeleton attack deck. And so I was pretty happy about the fact that I had both of my arrows in there. And here I decided just to get out of the way because I've got another stack of arrows and I just want to start doing damage to the castle and not sitting there fighting a bunch of skeletons. And unfortunately my opponent does have another arrow, but I don't mind because I've got another Reaper and I doubt he's got another arrow behind that. I do have another arrow to slow down any attack he might come up with, and at this point it's all over. So, pretty straightforward game there. Again, I was very happy when I saw who my opponent was, and that I had 2 arrows in my hand because I knew that's the kind of thing I need. Okay, so here is round 8 against PAIXX. This player is going really hard at the tournament right now, playing constantly, it seems like. I think has got 3 Master Tournament wins. So we will see how he or she finishes up. I had seen his deck before because I had seen it in clan chat. Other people had posted games against this opponent, so I knew what he or she was playing. Which, it didn't necessarily help me in this particular case. There was an example of I wanted to wait to see if my opponent was going to play arrows. He played bomb and then arrows, which was a nice play by my opponent. So my opponent's doing really well here. I get out my Reaper that's protected by the Hollow Knight, and I really wish I hadn't played my Storm Elemental so fast because then I lost the Hollow Knight, and the Reaper also. So that was pretty disappointing. I do have the Storm Elemental going in the top lane with some protection on it. Here I decide I'm going to play the Reaper because I have a Standard Bearer in my hand, so I know I could switch lanes if I need to, and in fact I did need to. And the timing is perfect. I draw another protection, and I've got the Reaper and a Storm Elemental at the castle with protection. And usually when you're playing a Reaper deck, that's lights out. So let's see. So that was round 8. So round 9 was against Rangad. This was another opponent who I've played before. I know this player. I couldn't remember if it was a Reaper kind of player or a Skeleton player, and there's a good reason I couldn't remember is because it's kind of a hybrid Skeleton Reaper deck. When he played the Hollow Knight, I thought, okay, so it is a Reaper deck. And I thought about trying to pull some tricks off here and going down to the bottom lane and but then I thought, you know what, let's just try to keep the Hollow Knight alive. And I was pretty sure he had a Reaper and was just waiting to use it on my Hollow Knight in that middle lane. And there it was with the freeze. And I was really hoping I could get my Standard Bearer out in time, but I couldn't. So that was pretty bad. We're not in great shape here. This is a good move by my opponent. I have one real threat. He stops it while he's still pounding my castle. I wait until I have full mana, get out my Hollow Knight, back it up with the Reaper, and suddenly things start to turn around. It looked like I was in a lot of trouble, and now I'm not looking so bad. I just played a Boneyard. My opponent plays protection, but I switch lanes so that I can go get rid of those creatures because I am low on health. So I need to do something to protect myself. Although I do have arrows, which is the one big benefit that I have going for me right now. With the Skull Queen out and my opponent out of cards, I was pretty sure it was game over from here. My opponent had some stuff, but there's just nothing that he could do. I was only afraid of a Reaper or a freeze and a Reaper, something like that at that point, and my opponent had neither. So, okay, so that was round 9. And for the final round was against Twister from Russia. Twister is another well-known, very strong player. This is what happens when you get in the late rounds of the Master Tournaments. That's all you play, and this is why they're hard to win, because you have to win so many games in a row, unless you want to pay for the continues, which are super expensive. But you have to win so many games in a row against tough opponents. Okay, so here I didn't get the Boneyard, so I'm just like, okay, well, let's go classic Reaper style. Let's get out the Storm Elemental. Let's throw protection on it. I throw the arrows down there. I didn't really think it was necessary to wait for those other two to show up. Now my opponent takes everything out here, which is like, oh man, this is sad. But I'm still in good shape because my opponent's used a lot of cards. They've used a Reaper, they've used some Boneyards. I've still got another arrows in my hand. I've got the only creature on the board, and I was thinking about playing the Reaper there, but no need. Instead, I went to switch lanes. I was thinking my opponent might be playing something that would, try to trick me, so I switched lanes. Now here's a kind of a neat move. I'm able to use my opponent's wind against him and protect everything in my middle lane. Here I was a little worried because Rage on a Reaper could be devastating, and I was in some ways lucky that my opponent didn't have a Standard Bearer, because that could have gotten nasty if they could have switched lanes on me there. But I had to play the wind. I feel like I didn't really have any choice, because with those creatures at the castle and Rage on that Reaper could have done massive damage very quickly. So that it looked like a pretty easy win, but I think that was a pretty tough one. Okay, so that was our Master Tournament win in the Golem Tournament. As you saw in the standings, we're doing okay. I don't know how competitive I'm going to be on this time around. Pac-Man from New World has also been playing a decent amount. I don't know if he'll keep playing and try to push for a high score as well, but I don't know how high of a score I'm going to push for this time. As you might remember, last time we finished 8th, but it's not very easy to do. Well, I think if we check the Hall of Fame here, oh, it doesn't tell you how many points you had. So wait a minute, this is something that's incorrect. 8 pirate, that's not what we wanted. Oh, this was the previous one. Okay. So yeah, I finished 8th, but it doesn't tell me how many points I had, so I don't remember. I'd have to check a video or something. So in any case, I'm not sure how many I'm going to shoot for in this one, but that's our Master Tournament win. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a like. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.